Hey, what's going on, guys? So I want to do a quick little update on this advent calendar knife from Boker Plus. I've gotten inundated with messages about it. People want to know where they can get it and want to know more about it. A lot of people want to see me, put this together every day. This is something I might try to do next year to make it a thing. Obviously this was a really, really generous gift from someone, and I just didn't have it like in the beginning of the month. Otherwise, I probably would have done daily videos or maybe added it to the daily video or whatever, I could do. But it is seriously, seriously fun and cool, and I want to talk about it a little bit. It's not quite done yet. I do have a knife in that we have a functional lock back here, which is pretty cool. So the advent calendar, like any advent calendar, you have, 24 days, 25 days, depending on the calendar, I suppose. And during the month of December, it's a countdown. Every day you open, a package. Most advent calendars have little chocolates in it or some kind of candy or something. So at the end of every day, you say, okay, we have X amount of days left till Christmas, and you have your little treat. In this case, for the knife hobbyists, you have basically a knife kit. So you put it together yourself. It's super, super cool. When everything's all said and done, I will definitely make a video showing it all done. But being about 2/3 into this project, I definitely have some information I want to share with you. So first off, it's not just knife parts. There's other things in there, which is really cool. Different Boker related stuff. So I'll show all that, in the end when I'm done. Also, when you get these, boxes like day 1, day 2, day 3, actually I have it next to me here. Let me grab it. You get instructions with some of them, not all of them, but you do get some instruction pieces here. Like here's one. I have a little bag of stuff here. I don't want to give it all away right now, but you get these little instructions. Let's see, we'll explain this in a minute, which was, I think, today's part. Hold on, there's more. Hang on a second, I see one more little instruction booklet here. So, obviously, if you don't have any experience putting knives together, it does give you some instructions, right? Why can't I grab this? Hang on. I have a bag of all kinds of stuff in here. All right, there it is. Okay, so those are instructions. So let me go back a second, right? Let's see. Where's A? A is here. All right. So the very first thing I got, right, the first day for December, and I had to play catch up because I got this on like day 5 or 6 or something. So I opened 5 or 6 boxes in a row. The first thing I got was a liner. Right, I got a liner, and then the second piece I got was this, and this is your back spring, and it gets, pinned towards the rear of the knife here, and that's the spring that gives you the tension, so you have your lock bar that pivots on it, right? So you get this instruction sheet that shows you put that here, and then use this hardware, but you don't have hardware yet. So I'm a little confused. I'm like, well, all right, well, when do I get screws? Because I can't put anything together. So I was actually not able to assemble anything until a couple days in. I want to say I got hardware at like 5 or 6, something like that. Now, when you get the hardware, you get a little, Ziploc bag full of everything. Or not everything, I should say, because I'm not done yet. But you get a bunch of different screws. And the problem is that there's no like instructions on what screws are for what part of the knife. So it's not like when you get a scale, or let's say you get this little piece. What I think should have been is that you get the box, you get the instructions, and you get the hardware for this particular step, and that's it. But it's not like that. Because the hardware is all mixed together at a later date, you really don't know what goes where. And the screws look very similar, but some of them have, they're shorter or longer stems. They have slightly different shaped heads on them. One's like domed, there's a flat screw in there, some's like polished, some's not. Some actually has a different width, so the threading is different. So it was definitely frustrating. Like if you're giving this as a present to, let's say, a 9 or 10-year-old, you have to supervise. They're not just going to figure it out. And on top of that, you do get the tools. Hold on. They give you 2 different Torx wrenches, double-headed. Right? These things are notorious for just being uncomfortable. They work, of course. You have the tools to put this all together, but I tried to do it with this just to stay, in the spirit of just doing it how anyone else would do it. But this got super frustrating really quickly, so I switched over to like a full-size, Torx driver. Because these things are super polished and smooth, like I said, you go to turn it and like maybe, okay, the screw slips, whatever, then this slips out of your hand. Kind of a pain, but you can actually put it together. It is a proper tool. So I'm just saying, like, it's not as straightforward as you might think. You do have to have a little bit of experience, I believe. This is like kind of moderate in my opinion. If you've never taken a knife apart or anything small in your life, this will frustrate you beyond belief. I've taken apart hundreds of knives, and because of the hardware differences, because basically you have two liners, you have your back spring, you have your, you know, this piece here, right? Your lock back, I should say, excuse me, and then you have your spring piece. Then you have, you know, like your scale and bolster here separate, which go on top, and then obviously pocket clip hardware. But like I said, underneath, it's like certain screws are longer, shorter, fatter, smaller, different heads. So I took this, you know, apart probably 8 or 9 times. Like I put it together, and went, no, this screw doesn't go here, or let me try this screw. And like I said, it's definitely frustrating, and I definitely have experience with taking knives apart and putting them back together. So just right off the bat, I just want to make that very clear. Again, if you are looking to get this for someone who's young, and you know, quite honestly, I'm not young. I got frustrated. It's supposed to be a fun thing, and I definitely had a lot of fun, and I'm very much looking forward to the rest of the days here before Christmas. But I want to make that a point, because I know a lot of dudes are going to be like, oh, this is going to be great. I'm going to get this for my son or my daughter or whatever, or my cousin, or, you know, a nephew, whatever, right? You want to gift it to someone. If it's someone who's younger, you definitely need a little supervision, because like I said, the instructions aren't super straightforward. It's a little, you have to use some experience here to make it work. Does that make sense? And even though I have experience, I've gotten this far. I have one screw left, and I have a hole, and I would assume it goes here, and it does not. It's a smaller screw than the other ones. The pocket clip screw, the top pocket clip screw, because there's 2 here. Let me zoom in for you. That is the longest screw. You can see that through there. And that goes through the entire body, so it's not just attaching the pocket clip to the scale or the pocket clip to the scale and the liner. It's actually going through the entire knife. All right, so this is actually really secure, but there's clearly a second hole there, and there should be a second screw. The one I have does not fit, and if you can see the shine under there, the liner's right underneath there. So I don't think there's even a hole. I have to take this part again to see what I did wrong so far. But I'm kind of waiting to see, and we still need like a thumb stud. Now, so I'm opening these, you know, and like I said, some days you don't get a knife part, you get something else, which we'll show at the end. Then I get this. So I have a second scale. These have some carbon fiber scales on it, which are super cool. Then I get a green micarta scale, right? So the image that's on the front of the, you know, like all the boxes are small parts of the picture, and the entire picture is like a schematic or the knife kind of blown out a little bit, which, by the way, you would think would help with the different hardware. It doesn't. But the schematic actually shows different scales. So I'm assuming we're gonna get a full set of these, or, you know, the other one. So I have green micarta, as well as, instead of this like flat gray, there's also like a, you know, looks like a brass colored, or maybe it is solid brass bolster. So it looks like you do get some different options here, you know, depending on what kind of look you want. So these blades are numbered on the back here. This one is 4232. I'm not sure if that literally means that there's 4,232, you know, made up until mine. I don't know if there's 5,000 a year available, but, you know, everyone's idea of what's, you know, really limited, it would be very subjective, right? If there was 20,000 of them, some people might think that's limited. If there was 50, you would think that's limited, right? If there was 5,000 of these kits worldwide, I would say that's extremely limited. There's way more than 5,000 people who would want to do this or give this as a gift or something. So I don't really know production numbers. I'm assuming if you called Boker or sent them an email, maybe they can tell you how many of these are made every year. But it is cool the knife is different every year. I think that's awesome. But yeah, I just wanted to not only give you a little preview of the knife itself, but also tell you the heads up on the frustration, or the possible frustration. It doesn't really matter if you're 10 or if you're 70. You can easily get frustrated with tiny little screws, especially if you're using the included tools. But yeah, even with my knife experience, I'm kind of playing around with it. I'm still not 100% on where every screw goes. So it's not like there's 50 screws either. There's not that many. There's like, there's 3 screws for each scale, 2 screws for each bolster. Underneath, there's, I think, 2 screws for that back piece. There's a screw for the lock back part. There's a pin that goes through, and I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 other screws I'm just not remembering. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. Also, I love the knife design. I will say, and it's not, you know, like if you're putting this together, you might not know, but these pieces, these scales and bolsters are slightly smaller than the liners. So the liners do stick out. This is not like it doesn't fit kind of a thing. That's a style of knife. There's been many companies that do it. It's not particularly my favorite style, but it's not too bad. You know, it's still comfortable to hold and use and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And also the blade, it's a little bit different too, in that the blade itself, I can't really show you this with the scales on it, but it's hooked. So it's not like there's washers that come with this and like a pivot that goes all the way through. Obviously the pivot is underneath these bolsters, so it has a nice clean look to it. But there's the bottom of the blade is hooked. So you basically hook it around the pin, and once it's completely in there, then you obviously, you know, tighten down the pivot screw, and you get the tension that you want, so you don't have any blade play. You don't want it to wiggle, but then you also don't want it to be like incredibly hard to pull out and, you know, use. So you have to play around with this lot of stuff. It's definitely not for a beginner, let's say, a beginner knife collector or whatever. It's you know, intermediate, I would say. So anyway, that is it for now. Stay tuned. I will show you the knife when it's completed and what, you know, setup I end up going with, because again, there's 2 different looks or possibly more. I don't know. Boker's website does say that this is, you know, multicolored. So there's, you know, different things for different people. Who knows, you know, how many different combinations there are. But as far as price, some of the dealers have these. Like I saw BladeHQ had them. Of course, they're sold out. It's the middle of December. I don't know when these are actually released. If you guys know that, or maybe you can call Boker and see. I have to assume like October, November is when they probably start sending them out and they're available for sale. This is something you have to jump on early as possible to get one, because this is obviously a popular thing and it sells out immediately. BladeHQ were selling these for like $130. So it's $130 for the kit. It is totally worth it, in my opinion. It's super, super fun, especially if you have like a teenager, you know, in your family, or you want to gift it to someone who's younger, kind of getting into knives. It's just exciting. And, you know, obviously it can go to anyone. If you're watching this and, you know, your husband loves knives, or maybe your wife loves knives, and this is something you think would be fun for them to put together and, you know, do the advent calendar thing. Because this advent calendar is everything, right? You know, cheese and wine and knives, apparently. So I'm all about it. I love it. If you got it directly from Boker, it was like $160, you know, plus shipping and everything. So they're out there between $130, $160. That's about the price range. Again, this was a gift from a viewer, which I am extremely appreciative of, because I saw this like 2 years ago and I thought that is cool. And I saw the price and I thought, I couldn't justify it at the time. Now that I had this experience, I will actively try to buy this every year. I do want to do this every single year and make it a tradition. I think it is awesome and it's worth every penny. So yeah, but it seems like it's going to be a grab bag of who gets in on it, you know, before it's sold out. It's just popular. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have an awesome day. Like I said, stay tuned. I'll show you the knife when it's all completed. See what it looks like. See everything that came with it, including all the little bonus stuff. So I'll see you guys tomorrow with a brand new video. Take care.